So you're thinking about moving to Atlanta, but you're wondering, like, what's it actually like to live in Atlanta? What are the pros and cons? What's the good and the bad? And maybe you've watched more of these videos and you're just tired of realtors trying to sell you on moving to Atlanta, and you want to know what real people think about the city. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. I'm actually here in Alpharetta, and I host a monthly networking event here at Mercantile Social, and I wanted to get the perspective from a local. Some people just moved here, some people have lived here forever, some people live in the city, some people live in the suburbs. But we're gonna call this suburb edition because I'm in the suburbs, and we're just gonna find out what real people think about Atlanta, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get after it right now. Thanks for taking the opportunity to give everybody the real Atlanta.
That's what we're here
for. Before we dive in, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
My name's McKinney. I'm the broker for Net Worth Realty of Atlanta. We specialize in selling investment properties to investors who are looking to buy and hold or fix and flip.
So these are like the same properties that are on the MLS or no?
No, we actually have private inventory. We don't market our properties on the MLS. We only market them to investors that are looking for property that have met with us.
And how do you know me?
We met here at Real Estate Connections 4 years now that I've been here. So yeah, it's been a great relationship and it's been awesome talking with you.
Awesome. So first question is, where in Atlanta do you live?
I live in Johns Creek, a little suburb just north of downtown, about 20 minutes north of downtown.
And if you could live in any place in Atlanta, would it be Johns Creek or you want to go somewhere else?
Yeah, I absolutely love Johns Creek. Alpharetta would be a close second because I spend a lot of my time here as well, but they're right next door. So,
which is where we happen to be tonight for my event. So super excited about that. How long have you been here? You're from Texas, or
yes,
I know
sir.
you came from Texas.
Yeah, I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I've been here since about mid-2019, running this brokerage, and have absolutely loved every minute of it.
Well, since you've, we're a transplant, you've been here a couple of years. Good decision, bad decision?
Best decision I've ever made. So the business was a little slow right there at COVID, but we've blown up ever since, and it's been great.
Awesome. So what is your least favorite, if you could change anything, part of living in Atlanta?
Traffic. It's an absolute beating. So if we could improve the roads a little bit and clear up some of the traffic, I'd be a lot happier camper.
Okay, so is it better or worse than Dallas-Fort Worth?
Ooh, 635 and 75. That might be a pretty tough call, but I'd say, it's big city traffic, so it's rough.
So with major metros and a lot of people, you get traffic.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, enough of the bad stuff. Yeah. What do you love about it?
The food's absolutely amazing. Southern hospitality just can't be beat. I mean, it's a great place to grow up and raise a family and have kids. Can you beat the beauty here? The trees, the streams, the rivers. I love it. So.
Yeah, not to dog on Dallas-Fort Worth or Texas, because my wife is from Texas. My first two kids were born in Texas. I used to live in Fort Worth, loved it, but it's kind of flat and brown.
Oh yeah, the aesthetic here wins, takes the cake for sure.
Did you know Atlanta's called City in the Forest?
Oh yeah, the Emerald City here.
Yeah, the largest tree canopy in the country.
Man, it's beautiful here. You can see it. I love the shade.
So. Awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, David, tell everybody who you are, what you do.
All right, my name is David Avent. I run North Georgia Photography and Forsyth Local. So a photography company and a giant Facebook group for my hometown. Local small businesses get in contact with the people in our community, and I make them look good doing it.
Yeah, and he's a great photographer. He does all the photography for our event, Real Estate Connections, which is where we're at tonight. So how long have you been in the Atlanta area?
Almost 37 years since I was born.
Okay, so
I grew up here.
Forever. Yeah. Great. And when you say here, whereabouts?
So I've lived in Forsyth County since '97. I grew up off Pleasantdale before that, so Spaghetti Junction area.
I've seen Forsyth change quite a bit in the last 30-something years. How about you?
In the last 10 years, it's changed a lot. In the last 20, it's been night and day. It used to be a big country place where, we had to get off 400 just to get to where we were trying to get to, and now traffic sucks. They grew a lot faster than the roads did, but we're getting by.
Well, anytime you have rapid growth, which has a lot of benefits, you have some drawbacks too. Right. So you mentioned the traffic. Would that be the worst, or what parts of Forsyth or the greater Atlanta metro do you don't like?
I try not to go very far from home. I've had to go to Atlanta for, I used to be an IT guy, so I used to have to go down to Howell Mill every day. I hated it.
From Forsyth?
Yeah, 55 miles one way. Had to leave an hour early, get to work an hour hour early, or else I'd be sitting in 45 minutes more of traffic.
So what you're saying is if people want to, if they work in the city, you don't commute from Cumming.
No, we have some of the most angry drivers on the road. I might be one of them if I was still commuting.
So how's the traffic if you just stay out there locally?
It's not bad. Like if a mega church is getting out, or around 5 o'clock or 8 o'clock, schools. Summer's not so bad, but
So more hit or miss, but not awful.
I work from home 90% of the time on purpose for that purpose.
So what do you love about it?
I love where I'm from. It's a great community. It's definitely changed a lot in the last 15 years. I would say a lot more of the liberal parties moving in, which is fine. I'm sorry to talk about politics on your stuff.
I can't talk about politics, but you can.
I'm center of the road. You do you over there, I'm gonna do me over here, and as long as you ain't hurting nobody, we're good. But when people start inflicting that and changing, like you move to an area because you like the way it is and then you change it, I have a little bit of a problem with that. But other than trying to make drastic changes, free love, everybody do your thing.
Awesome. Anything else you want to add?
Well, you're a real estate professional, so I was going to talk on I guess landlords maybe.
Okay.
I do have a little bit of problem with people that have never been to where I'm from owning all the property.
Is that currently a problem?
Yes.
Are these big institutional investors or smaller investors? Who's buying up all the stuff?
People not from here. If you're from here and you're part of the community, you get it. People outside of the community just don't, and they're like people that get out of high school can't even afford to have roommate situations in Forsyth County right now, because rent, if you're renting through one of them, is literally double what it is if you know somebody.
So affordability has suffered over the last decade, and particularly the last couple of years. Rent or purchase
In Forsyth County, for real. My brother, great, he bought a house when he did. He made like $300K on, so that's awesome. But everybody who didn't buy a house kind of sucks. Can't afford to live there. And we can't afford to have people doing all the jobs that we don't want to do without commuting them in, and then they don't care about the community, and it's just not good for the community. I manage a group with 32,700 people in it, so I see everybody from people in office to people, that don't belong on the internet. But I get to see and have to be aware of all of their opinions and the things that affect their daily lives, and that's something I can speak on.
Yeah, and what was the name of your Facebook group again?
Forsyth Local.
So if you're looking to connect with some people in Forsyth, that would be a great place to be. Well, thanks for your honest opinion, and thanks for sharing it. I'm sure a lot of people got really good value out of it.
Hope so.
So Tammy, let's start with tell everybody your name, what you do.
My name is Tammy Emerson, and I'm with Arrow Exterminators here in Atlanta.
And I just happen to be a customer, so.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. I'm a customer.
Not only is she, no, I'm kidding.
Exactly.
What part of Atlanta do you live in?
So right now I reside in Cleveland.
Okay.
Cleveland, Georgia.
Where is that?
So that's like 5 minutes outside of Helen.
The north
Georgia, North Mountain area. So it's beautiful up there. I'm very, very happy.
What other areas in and around Atlanta or in Georgia have you lived?
So I've lived in the city of Decatur. I've lived in Scottsdale, and I've lived in Tucker.
Okay, awesome. And what time frame? How long have you been here?
I've been here for 12 years from the sunny South Florida, of living in the Florida Keys and also living in Fort Lauderdale and Miami.
Great. I just always ask those questions because I want people to have like a perspective, because most of the people are moving here from somewhere else if they do. And obviously they probably watch a lot of videos where people tell them how great it is, but I want everybody to know what they might not love before they get here. So with that as a backdrop, whether it's Greater Atlanta or Cleveland or any of those other areas you've been, like what is not so awesome about Atlanta?
Well, I think Atlanta, like Metro Atlanta, you have a big city feel, so there's not necessarily all the warm fuzzies that I was looking for when I moved here. So I would say that the warm fuzzies weren't there, and the traffic, of course, but that's any big city. Yeah.
I think everybody says that. Is that it? What about Cleveland? Anything you don't love about Cleveland?
No, I love Cleveland, so I don't have any negatives. That's why I moved out of Atlanta, was to get closer to the mountains and to have peace and see the deer in the front yard and the views. And
I have a great video my mother-in-law just sent me from our property. It's a mommy with 2 little babies walking around with their spots, so it does have its benefits.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And for me, it's at my age, it's my
like 35.
Yes. It's my vacation retirement home, and I've done city life for years and years and years. So I think for me, it was just I was transitioning, and it's the perfect spot.
Great. So what do you love?
About
Cleveland or Atlanta or the area?
So, Atlanta I love because the opportunity is huge for business. I would say to anybody who wants to come here, start a business, not even to start your own business, but even working for corporate America, there's so much to offer here. I absolutely love it. I came here 12 years ago and was able to support my 2 children, as a single parent. Later on, I found my forever husband, and what I love is that we moved up to the mountains, and I like the cooler temperatures. I love the mountain views. I love the swimming holes. You name it. I like touching the moss and hugging a tree.
I need to come visit Tammy. How about you?
And we have a cigar bar.
Well, thank you so much for sharing.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
All right, so let's start with what's your name? What do you do?
My name is Albert, and I do social media marketing for real estate agents.
I love it. I happen to be a real estate agent, so that's how we know each other. Where do you live in Atlanta?
I live in Cumming off exit 14, but I've lived in Atlanta the majority of my life and got to experience all of it.
So 10, 11 years?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, just a little more, a little more.
What other areas have you lived in?
I have lived in Brazil, and I've also lived in Italy.
Wow. Okay, so for all of you, I just had some clients relocate from Sweden. So for all of you international viewers, anywhere else other than Cumming in Atlanta?
Nope, that's it. Just Brazil and Milan in Italy, and it was São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro.
What do you not love or dislike about whether it's Cumming or the Metro Atlanta? What would you change?
The transportation situation. I love going to Atlanta United games, and it is a pain to get downtown. So that's the one thing I would improve about Atlanta, and that's really one of my only nitpicks about the city.
That's it. That's all you got.
Having lived in a ton of other places, I could say that Atlanta offers the most balanced lifestyle.
Well, you just told us some of the things you enjoyed, but what are one of the top 1 or 2 things that you absolutely love?
The diversity. I love being able to go to the different corners of Atlanta and experience completely different cultures, getting to know different people, eating different foods. If you're a foodie, Atlanta is the best place to be in, and just in general, getting to meet people. You get to meet all sorts of cool people here.
I'm glad you said that about the food. I've done New York, LA, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Atlanta, and I have to say I'd put the food scene right on par with all of them.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question. I've done the food scene in South America and Europe, and while there might be things you can get there, you can get a lot of everything over here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing.
Of course, no problem. Thanks for having me on.
So let's start with what's your name and what do you do?
My name is Jennifer, and I work with Phillips Brothers Acquisitions as the operations manager. I also work at Mercantile Social as the events manager.
Awesome. Which is where we're hosting our event. Where in Atlanta do you live?
I live in Brasselton and commute to Alpharetta every day.
What's that like?
It's actually nice because I get to listen to podcasts, and it's my only alone time because I have 2 kids and it's just nice and quiet. So I enjoy the commute actually.
So have you lived anywhere else in Atlanta?
No, I am a Hawaii transplant, so it's my first time.
For all you Hawaiian viewers out there, how long have you been here?
A little over a year.
Best decision ever or regretting it?
I actually really love it here. Learning the culture, absolutely loving the baseball games. I go see the Braves once in a while. I'm excited for Georgia football. My dad's a big fan, so he's gotten me into that. So yeah, just it's a great city. Really, really great place to live.
Which is about to start any time now. So what do you love?
I love the culture. I love the music scene. Live music is really big here. Really enjoy, like I said, the sports. Really great places to visit. There's a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants. Food is awesome. And yeah, the people are really, really, really nice. So it's a great place. I really, really enjoy it.
If it's not too much, what's it like being, solo mom with 2 kids?
I'm working on building my community here, and they love their schools. They're making great friends, and it's been working out great so far.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, Jennifer.
Sure thing. Thank you.
Pardon the interruption, but what I'd really like to know is if you find value in content like this, hearing from locals and their perspective. So in the comments below, is this valuable, or would you rather me just be like every other realtor and sit in an office and talk to you about the same boring 5 or 10 things that everyone else talks about? Or if you have any feedback whatsoever, we appreciate it. Drop it in the comments. Now let's get back to the action. Start with your name and what you do.
My name is Peter Pasternak, Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm a real estate investor and connector.
Yeah, for those of you that recognize this pretty face, he was the lead character on A&E's Flip This House for 3 seasons with 2 million viewers an episode, and very much a dear friend of mine and business partner and mentor and all the things. So no interview is complete without Peter's perspective. Peter, where in Atlanta do you live?
I live in Sandy Springs. I've lived there the last since 1998, so 25 years.
Before that, anywhere else around Atlanta or Georgia? Where have you been? Where are you from? Tell us your story.
So born and raised in West Hartford, Connecticut, went to college at the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, 2 times national champions. And so, I've been here in Georgia for 45 years. And when I first moved, I lived over on Collier Road, which I guess we call West Midtown. And I love that area. It was very convenient. I worked downtown at the time. Then after that, I lived probably about 5 or 6 years over on Chaliford Road, which is considered Doraville / Brookhaven. I mean, it's kind of like right in the middle there, which is a great location. Also, and then the last 25 years I've been in the same house in Sandy Springs.
Which looked like cow pasture when you got there.
It's so funny because when we went there the first time, I wasn't too sure about the location. And what's great, in several years later, Sandy Springs became a city here in Georgia. And the woman who was the mayor, who's passed away several years ago, which is a shame, she did such a great job, and they put a lot of money into the city of Sandy Springs for the parks and the roads and things like that. And one of my favorite parts about living in Sandy Springs is how convenient it is to get to any park, whether I'm going 400 to Alpharetta, like in this area, which I know that you're involved in, going downtown, east, south, northwest. There's 400, 285, 75, 85, all those expressways that can get you really anywhere. And that's one of the reasons I love living in Sandy Springs.
So I know that one of the number one things people don't like is traffic, and one of the number one things you don't like is driving. So how's that work out?
The way I look at things is don't get upset with things that can't change. And so when people go, oh my God, there's so much traffic. Well, there is.
I haven't talked to anyone else that's an investor. So for people that are looking at investing in Atlanta, or even just buying a personal home, which will be a great investment, what's your perspective?
One of the things that I love about living in this area is when you compare it to other metropolitan cities in the United States, the cost of real estate is significantly less. So whether you're a homeowner just looking for affordable housing, look, we have so many people that move from California or New York, and they have $1 million. It's like a fixer-upper horrible, where depending on the area for that, you could get really a lot of house for that. And so whether you're just a person looking for a home or you're an investor, you can get a lot more investment properties when the price of the properties is a lot lower. How many great things we have in Atlanta, whether it's sports teams, right? You've got the Braves, which are doing great. You have the Georgia Bulldogs, Atlanta United, theater. I mean, there's a little bit of everything for you. So I love the city. So I think in a lot of places I'd want to live, the traffic would not be good. So I don't think about it. I can't change it. I live with it. And then, here's the thing. If you like to read or you're going to be in your car, get audiobooks. Start listening, doing things that are going to help yourself, and take advantage of something that might be a weakness and turn it into something that is valuable and makes you a better person.
So as someone who's been an investor for a really long time, done a lot of it, and a homeowner today, good time or bad time to invest or buy a home?
So I always say that it's always a good time to invest. It's about making money on the buy, and especially if you're looking for 1 or 2 properties, the ability to find a seller that's motivated, right? And I always talk about the 3 Ds: disease, divorce, and death. Those are just easy to remember. All of those occurrences are something that's going to cause a seller to probably be really wanting to get rid of that property. And so there always are opportunities regardless of the market. I always say I made more money in the market in about 2009 or 10, where I bought for cash some properties and just held them until the market changed, and those were good times. So there's always opportunities. It's about being patient and finding the right time, and the same thing on home. There's never like a perfect time, but it's always a great time, because if you're going to be in a home for a while, by far, historically, the appreciation on real estate is greater than on any other type of asset.
Yeah, and I think the metrics in Atlanta look really great relative to some other places. It's just a ton of people are moving here. The economy's booming. Short term up and down, but long term, it's a buy.
100% on there. And for me, it's always about long term. I'm never really thinking about anything in life being short term. And some people go, well, what happens if you pass away? Well, that's just going to be a legacy for the people that are going to get to inherit all my properties.
Anything else you want to add?
If you really are looking to network with people, Jenny and I have 2 great network events. The first Tuesday of every month, we are in Midtown, Ponco Chicken right now. The third Tuesday, we're right here in downtown Alpharetta at Mercantile Social. Networking really determines your net worth. This is really about relationships, and there's nothing better better than coming and meeting people and start being able to start and then nurture relationships.
Yeah, we always talk about a lot on the channel, like you're buying a house, but in order to make it a home, it's not just your house, it's the community, and I think that's what it's all about.
100%. And Denny, you know, you do such a great job with your videos and introducing people, and I'm grateful that we get to be great friends and business partners.
Feelings mutual. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
All right, well, let's start with what's your name and what do you do professionally?
My name is Sherry Von Klitzing, and I am a mortgage loan originator.
Awesome. And what part of Atlanta do you live in?
I live in Roswell. That's on the north end of the perimeter, going up Highway 400.
And are you from Atlanta, or how long have you been here?
I've been in Atlanta since 2005. I came here from Florida, but before that it was in New York City, and before that I lived in Europe 17 years.
What do you not love about Roswell or Atlanta in general?
What I don't like is the difficulty of meeting people. I think you really have to learn how to integrate to become part of the community or the communities you prefer here in the city.
And what do you love about Atlanta?
That is why I wrote my book, The Expatriate's Guide to Atlanta. That was in 2016. I had been to on a trip to Europe.
Where can people find it?
It can be found on Amazon, and it's in Kindle as well as hard copy. Anyway, I had a miserable time in Europe, even though I had loved it when I lived there. The weather was bad. It was just gray, and bullet list of all the things I love about Atlanta. So that's what my book is all about. And the reason that I love Atlanta, or what I like about it, is number one, we have a wonderful airport. Number two, our weather is great. Number three, you can find all kinds of cultural things going on here. A lot of diversity, a lot of international exposure, both in business and in the communities. You can find all kinds of food. We've got great restaurants. Traffic's horrible, so I forgot to mention that earlier. But yeah, traffic, you have to know how to navigate. But besides that, 4 or 5 hour drive to major beaches. We have wonderful lakes, rivers, wildlife, and greenery. Those are things I like about Atlanta.
Again, what was the name of the book?
The Expatriate's Guide to Atlanta.
Awesome. Y'all should go pick it up. Thank you. All right, let's start with tell everybody your name and what you do professionally.
What's up? My name is Grayson. I work with AquaGuard Foundation Solutions in Marietta.
It's all right. Well, I was going to ask where, but you're in Marietta. Have you lived anywhere else in Atlanta?
Just Ackworth.
Ackworth and Marietta. And how long have you been here?
For about my whole life, 24 years now.
In that 24 years, I mean, obviously, you've seen a lot of the city. What do you not love about Atlanta?
Traffic, obviously, is the first and foremost answer. And the heat and the mosquitoes.
Those are some of the things that get on my nerves, too. I think I've shared that with y'all before, so see, I was telling the truth. What do you love about it?
What I love is the atmosphere, the culture. I live in the Ackworth, which is a suburb of Marietta, so, you know, it's only about 45 minutes north of the city. So it's not too far away from the city, but not too close.
What are some of the things that Atlanta has to offer that you like?
The Beltline.
What's the Beltline?
The Beltline is like a walking, biking trail that goes around the inner city circle, and it goes along a whole bunch of shops like Ponce City Market and Centennial Olympic Park and Piedmont Park, and pretty much anywhere that you're trying to get to in downtown Atlanta, you can get to from the Beltline.
Yeah, the Beltline was like an old rail yard that they repurposed, and they put a big, huge trail, and it connects a bunch of the inner city Atlanta neighborhoods in a way that previously, you know, you might have to ride 30 minutes in a car, but you can walk 5 minutes and be there.
Yes, absolutely. Anything else that I love? Probably the exploding real estate market. Probably just the people. I've grown up here my whole life, and everybody really puts the southern in the hospitality, which is most important, I think.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, nice to be here. Thank you.
So, Reggie, let's start with your name and what you do professionally.
My name is Reginald Golston. I'm the owner of Show Homes of Cobb, which is a home staging company.
For people that don't know, why is it important to stage your home?
It's important to stage a home because it gives the buyers an idea of what it takes to live in that particular property. A lot of people can't visualize themselves in the property unless there's furniture inside. So I think it's very important to have home staging.
Awesome. And where do you live?
I live in Kennesaw, Georgia.
Where were you at before you got to Atlanta?
I'm originally from Monroe, Louisiana, North Louisiana.
There's good and bad with everything. What do you not love about the greater Atlanta or Kennesaw?
Traffic. The traffic is terrible. Regardless of what time of the day, there's always traffic.
Well, you haven't stayed here for 21 years because you didn't like something. What are the things that you love about Atlanta?
I love the variety of foods that Atlanta offers. I love there's always something to do. So if you're bored at any point, it's because you do not want to do anything. There's always something to do in Atlanta.
What are your favorite things to do?
I like to eat. I like to go to different restaurants. I love outdoor concerts also. Not in the summer, but I love outdoor concerts.
I love it. Anything else you want to add?
I love Atlanta. I love being out here. It's great. I love real estate connections. This is the place to be. On Tuesdays, the beginning of the month and towards the end of the month, this is the place to be.
Well, thanks, Reggie.
All right, absolutely.
So, Jack, why don't we start with telling everybody what you do?
I'm a real estate agent for New Western. I work on the disposition side, so I find investors distressed properties to purchase.
All right, so when you say you're a real estate agent for New Western, like people don't know what dispositions is or any of that. What's the layman's version of what you do?
Yeah, so I sell real estate to investors.
Where do you get those properties?
From our team, we're networked out of Atlanta. We have a multitude of connections. We're very entrenched in the Atlanta system. We've been here about 12 years. And so we get it from a multitude of sources.
Are these like listed on MLS? People just find them on Zillow?
Some of them are listed on MLS. A lot of them are from wholesalers, and some of them are just from personal contacts from being here for 12 years.
Okay, so not necessarily what people are going to find on online search.
Correct.
All right, so where do you live in Atlanta?
I live in Buckhead.
Have you always been in Buckhead?
No, I haven't. I've actually moved around a lot. I've lived in Gainesville, I've lived in Milton, I've lived in Roswell, I've lived in Alpharetta, and now I live in Buckhead. Well, and I guess technically I've lived in Atlanta too.
Having lived all over there, like what are the things that you don't love about Atlanta?
I think everyone says the traffic, but to be honest with you, there isn't a lot that I dislike. To be honest with you, living here a long time, I think it's a very good melting pot of people, and I think that, no matter who you are, you can find your niche in Atlanta.
Awesome. Well, what do you love about it?
Quite a bit. I mean, I've lived here my entire life. I think like I said, there's something for everyone. Whether you want to be an outdoorsy person, there's something for you. Whether you like the city and like going out, there's something for you. And I think the people are really good here too as well. I've never really met someone that I didn't like from here.
So what do you enjoy doing?
I enjoy painting, and I also enjoy working out, meeting new people.
Awesome. Well, that's you're in the right place to do that.
Oh yeah, and I plan on staying here.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. All right. Well, let's start with your name and what you do.
Hi, I'm Noel Head, and I am a model and a bartender.
I love it. And where do you live?
I live in Canton, Georgia.
Have you lived anywhere else other than Canton around the metro Atlanta?
I grew up in Alpharetta until I was 16, and then I moved to Canton.
Okay. Lived anywhere else other than Georgia?
No, I haven't.
Awesome. So local. I love it. Now, my favorite question is, what do you not love about Atlanta?
I would say my biggest thing with Atlanta is the traffic. Like commuting around, getting to places, it definitely makes things very difficult, especially if you don't live in the city and have to drive into it.
So do you commute into the city a lot?
I do. For work and modeling, it requires me to go to the city quite often.
So what do you think your typical commute looks like?
I normally get up 3 or 4 hours before I have to be to Atlanta in the morning, and then I leave 2 hours before I have to be there just because of the traffic.
Yeah, I guess if you're going to if you're modeling and looking for work, you don't want to show up late.
Exactly. It's an industry where you definitely have to be punctual. I'd say 30 minutes early is on time for me.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else other than the traffic that you don't love about it?
I'd say sometimes the people can be a little interesting, especially in Atlanta. With the driving, it kind of shows you people can be selfish.
How about Canton? What do you maybe not love about Canton?
I would say everything's more spread out. It takes a little while to get to places. There's less items in the grocery store, just, less of everything.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the total population of Canton, but it's a rural suburb.
Right. It's kind of out there. Everything's spread out, laid back kind of vibe.
Cool. Well, what do you love about Canton or Atlanta or both?
I've always loved about Canton, the tight-knit community, getting to, when you go to the grocery store, you see the people you know. When you go to restaurants, you see your friends and family. Everything's really close together, and I like that.
You can't find anything that you need, but you'll know everyone there.
Exactly.
What about Atlanta, the city? What do you like about it?
I love that there's a lot of opportunity in Atlanta, and it's a growing industry. There's always more work to be had with modeling. There's always more work to be had with acting or any other industry. It's growing, it's up and coming, and there's always work to be had.
Yeah, the movie business is booming here. Has that had an impact on the modeling business too?
Yes, as a model, I have done some work in the film industry, and I've gotten to see another industry and build up my portfolio and see a new side of Atlanta.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start with just your name and what you do professionally.
Jessica and Chris with LaRouche Photo, and we are a real estate photo and video company, but we also do headshots and testimonial videos.
Yes, and we do a lot of drone work. We do virtual tours. We do floor plans. You already mentioned video photography. Basically anything property related.
Where in the greater area, Atlanta area do you live?
Oh gosh, well, we live here in Alpharetta, so this is home base for us. But as far as deeper dive, like
Anywhere else?
I'm native. I grew up in Tucker, so I am 100% pure and pure Atlantan.
I am from Louisiana, grew up in Florida, and have lived all over the country.
How long have you been here?
Longer than I've ever lived anywhere else, going on 12, 13 years.
What do you love about it?
For me, I really love the small downtown feel. It's like everything in Alpharetta. It's really nice. You know, you can walk everywhere. Parking could be a little better, but other than that, good food, good people. For me, it just makes for a really good lifestyle.
I love the hiking, I love the water, I love the nature, all the outside stuff.
Well, features usually have flaws. Good things have bad things. What do you not love about it?
What do I not like about
Traffic! I bet everybody says traffic. I mean, who doesn't say the traffic?
especially with our line of work?
That's a
Yeah.
away from you. What else?
Property taxes.
Yeah, I would say
California takes all your money everywhere else.
the traffic and the taxes is probably the worst two things to me. There's not a lot that I don't like about Georgia. I love it here. I'm gonna say that this is my favorite place to be.
All right, let's start with your name and what you do professionally.
I'm Basil Dimov, and I do plumbing for a living. And also, I'm a real estate agent, just got my license. So I'm here with wonderful people and trying to expand my business.
Where do you live in the Atlanta area?
I live in Cumming.
And have you always been in Cumming or anywhere else around the city?
No, I came from Philadelphia 2 years ago and happened to buy the house in Cumming. At the beginning, I didn't even know what the area was, and my friends were jumping for joy even more than I did because they said that's a great area, and I couldn't appreciate it at the beginning.
There's good and bad in all things, so what do you not love?
What I do not love? Well, I'm still getting adapted to the area because in Philadelphia, everything is so compacted that you don't have to drive too far in order to get from one venue to the other or to one store to the other. And of course, job has been crazy because you have to travel a lot.
Awesome. Well, we're glad you love Atlanta. What do you love about it?
I love the people, and also the culture is a little different here than up north. And I've been to New York as well. So, and the climate, I like about the climate. And also, to me, is very important that there's a lot of churches here and people worship the Lord. And on Sundays, the churches are full.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for sharing. So let's start with your name and what do you do?
Hi, Danny. I'm Doug Dean. I'm a real estate closing attorney.
Doug, whereabouts in Atlanta do you currently live?
I live on what I call the Cherokee County side of Milton, just the very southeast corner of Cherokee that's almost Fulton and almost Forsyth County.
So have you lived there forever or you lived in other parts of Atlanta?
I've lived there a little over 5 years. Before that, 25 years in Douglasville, and before that, 25 years in the Tucker Stone Mountain area.
All right, so you've seen a couple of things, and that sounds like you've been here for a while. That would be at least 55 years you just rolled off.
That is 55 years in Atlanta, that's right.
So you went to law school here too?
I did, law school at Georgia State at night. It was a night job while working at Delta Airlines was a full-time job.
I played soccer at Georgia State. What time frame were you there?
Or 96 through 2000.
Same time.
At Georgia State.
I did not know that. You learn something new every day. Okay, so you've been here forever. You lived in a couple of places, which is great, especially for this. I'm sure there's some things you don't like. If you love Atlanta, what are the things that you don't love about Atlanta?
It's an easy answer to say traffic, because traffic is always a bear.
Anything else other than traffic that you could pick apart?
Well, as a real estate attorney, I have to like development, but there's a time at which sometimes you say, man, I like seeing the cows on the pasture, and I hate that it's going to be another strip mall. Yeah. So on some level, everybody wishes time could slow down, and you just see so much development, and it's just a reminder of how things change.
Yeah, we always talk about all the development on this channel, and obviously that comes with some drawbacks.
It does. Like everything, it's a two-edged sword. As a real estate attorney, I'm in favor of real estate and development, but there's the NIMBY, the not in my backyard syndrome.
What do you love about it?
First, it's your hometown, and you got to have some affinity to the place that you you grow up in. So just it's a sentimental favorite growing up here. I like that we have an international airport. I worked at Delta for 14 years, and my father was an airline pilot. So I've always been connected to the airlines and the airport. That I've got my favorites, my restaurants, the place to get my hair cut, all the things that I know. And that's one nice thing is when you find something you're happy with and know you can go back.
Anything else?
I just think Atlanta's a great place to live, to be. It's close to the mountains, not too far to the beach, has a lot to offer, and there's plenty of industry, business, and whatever your interests are, whatever you want to do, you can usually find it in Atlanta.
Awesome. Thanks, Doug. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that insider's look of the pros and cons of what it's like to live in Atlanta, well, at least the Atlanta suburbs. We're gonna do another one in town as well, so we'll link to that video. If you love stuff like this, make sure you subscribe. If you want to check out some home tours, click right there, and until we see you in person, we'll see you on the next episode.